I'm the Source Code Gamer, and today I'm going to be doing a little something that a lot of people don't do. At least I've never seen someone actually sit down and talk through the terms and service and a lot of other things that YouTube gives you, but no one ever actually reads, such as the terms of service, copyright, what declares fair use, and things like that. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk for however long it takes for me to get through each and everything that YouTube provides. Um, I will be splitting these up into the different things. I will be talking uh, through the entire thing, so I will be giving input. I will try to explain it in a simpler way than this because a lot of it's filler. It's basically trying to make it look a little bit harder so that you can't say you can't break it as easily because it provides something or another that basically it provides filler to make it so that it's longer and less people are likely to read the entire thing and understand something and see a loophole. A lot of people will deny that, but everyone does it. I forget what the term for that was. Some guy that uh, named it, some gibberish name that they started calling it. But let's start with the terms and service. Your acceptance. By using or visiting the YouTube website or any YouTube product, software, data feeds, and services provided to you from or through the YouTube website, collectively the service, you signify your agreement to 1. These terms and conditions, the terms of service, 2. Google's privacy policy, which I will go through later, and incorporate herein by reference, and 3. YouTube's community guidelines, which I will go through later as well, and also incorporated herein by reference. If you do not agree to these terms, the Google privacy policy or community guidelines, please do not use the services. Although we may attempt to notify you when major changes are made to these terms of service, you should periodically review the most up-to-date version. YouTube may, in its sole discretion, modify or revise the terms of service and policies at any time, and you agree to be bound by such modifications or revisions. Nothing in these terms of service shall be deemed to confer any third-party rights or benefits. This basically says if you're going to use their service, you abide by these rules. You should always check your privacy policy. I will always check it every once in a while and update this video and videos accordingly. Of course, if you do not agree with these, you cannot use these services without expecting to abide by them. They set the rules because they created it. Sure, people like me who create the content, we made the website what it is, but they create the website. They came up with the idea. They pay the money to keep it running. And that's how it works. Service. These terms of service apply to all users of the service, including users who are also contributors of content, which are the content creators, on the service. Content includes the text, software, scripts, graphics, photos, sounds, music, videos, audio-visual combinations, interactive features, and other material you may view on, access through, or contribute to this service. The service includes all aspects of YouTube, including but not limited to all products, software, and services offered via the YouTube website, such as YouTube channels, the YouTube embeddable player, the YouTube uploader, and other applications. The service may contain links to third-party websites that are not owned or controlled by YouTube. YouTube has no control over and assumes no responsibility for the content privacy policies or practices on of any third-party websites. In addition, YouTube will not and cannot censor or edit the content of any third-party site. By using this service, you expressively relieve YouTube from any and all liability arising from the use of any third-party website. Accordingly, we encourage you to be aware when you leave the service and terms and conditions and privacy policy of each other website that you visit. This basically says that, well, it's basically covering themselves because they can't control things they don't own, which is pretty much the rest of the world. Well, rest of the internet. YouTube accounts. In order to access some features of the service, you will have to create a YouTube or Google account. Now you have to actually do a Google account because it's kind of hard not to. You may never use another account without permission. When creating your account, you must provide accurate and complete information. You are solely responsible for the activity that occurs on your account, and you must keep your account password secure. You must notify YouTube immediately of any breach of security or unauthorized use of your account. Although YouTube will not be liable for your losses caused by the unauthorized use of your account, you may be liable for the losses of YouTube or others due to such unauthorized use. This basically means that if your account is breached and you do not say anything, you are responsible no matter what. It doesn't matter if your account was hacked or anything, you are responsible because that is your job, to keep it secure. All your information must stay secure. That is your job, no one else's. General use of the service permissions and restrictions. YouTube hereby grants you permission to access and use the service as set forth in the terms of service, provided that you agree not to distribute in any medium any part of the service or the content without YouTube's prior written authorization, unless YouTube makes available the means for such distribution through functionality offered by the service, such as the embeddable player. That basically means you're not allowed to use their player on other websites unless you tell them. Same thing with YouTube videos and stuff like that. Once it's up on YouTube, it sort of becomes partially theirs in a way. You can produce your video anywhere you want, but they prefer you to keep it to YouTube and use their player. You agree not to alter or modify any part of the service. That means you can't hack their service. You agree not to access content through any technology or other means other than the video playback pages of the service itself, the embeddable player, or other explicitly authorized means YouTube may designate. You agree not to use the service for any of the following commercial uses unless you obtain YouTube's prior written approval: the sale of access to the service, the sale of advertising, sponsorships, or promotion placed on or within the service or content, or the sale of advertisements, sponsorships, or promotions on any page of an ad-enabled blog or a website containing content delivered via the service, unless other material may not obtain the YouTube appears on the same page and is of sufficient value to be the basis for such sales. Prohibited commercial use do not include uploading an original video to YouTube or maintaining an original channel on YouTube to promote your business or artistic enterprise. Showing YouTube videos through an embeddable player on an ad-enabled blog or website subject to the advertising restrictions set forth in the section 4, or any use that YouTube expressly authorizes in writing. Yeah. For more information, constitutes a prohibited commercial use. See our FAQ. I will be talking about that later. If you use the embeddable player on your website, you may not modify, build upon, or block any portion or functionality of the embeddable player, including but not limited to links back to the YouTube website. If you use the YouTube uploader, you agree that it may automatically download and install updates from time to time from YouTube. These updates are designed to improve, enhance, and further develop the uploader, and may take the form of bug fixes, enhanced functions, new software modules, and completely new versions. You agree to receive such updates and permit YouTube to deliver these to you as part of the use of the uploader. I've never actually used the downloadable version, so I don't know much about that. You agree not to use or launch any automated systems, including without limitation robots, spiders, or offline readers. This basically means you're not going to get a view bot that accesses the service in a manner that sends more request messages to the YouTube servers in a given period of time than a human can reasonably produce in the same period by using conventional online web browser. Notwithstanding the foregoing, YouTube grants operators of public search engines permission to use spiders to copy materials from websites from the site for sole purpose of and solely to extent necessary to create publicly available searchable indices of the materials, but not caches or archives of such materials. YouTube reserves the right to revoke these exceptions either generally or in specified cases. You agree not to collect or harvest any personal identifiable information, including account names, from the service, nor to use the communication system provided by the service, e.g., comments, email, for any commercial solicitation purposes. You agree not to solicit for commercial purposes any users of the service with respect to their content. In your use, you will comply with all applicable laws. YouTube reserves the right to discontinue any aspect of the service at any time. Alright, let's take a few seconds so I can make sure this thing's been recording. And so I can get my voice back. Alright, that made it a little bit better. Your use of content. In addition to the general restrictions above, the following restrictions and conditions apply specifically to your use of content. The content of the service and the trademarks, service marks, and logos marks on the service are owned by or licensed to YouTube, subject to copyright and other intellectual properties rights under the law. Content is provided to you as is, meaning they're not going to change your content unless it's violating copyright. You may access content for your information and personal use solely as intended through the provided functionality of the service, and is permitted under these terms of service. You shall not download any content unless you see a download or similar link display on the YouTube on the service for that content. You shall not copy, reproduce, distribute, transmit, broadcast, display, sell, license, or otherwise exploit any content for any purposes without the prior written consent of YouTube or the respective licensors of the content. YouTube and its licensors reserve all rights not expressly granted into the service and the content. You agree not to circumvent, disable, or otherwise interfere with security-related features of the service, or features that prevent or restrict use of copying of any content, or enforce limitations on use of the service or the content therein. This basically just means that you're not going to download videos that you're not allowed to download. You're not going to steal information and things such as that. You understand that when using the service, you will be exposed to content from a variety of sources, and that YouTube is not responsible for the accuracy, usefulness, safety, or intellectual property rights of or relating to such content. That basically means you're allowed to lie as much as you want, and they're not responsible, uh, which is a lot of the videos out now. You further understand and acknowledge that you may be exposed to content that is inaccurate, such as bad tutorials, offensive, such as a lot of videos, indecent, a lot of videos, or objectionable, that's pretty much just offensive restated, and you agree to waive and hereby do waive any legal or equitable rights or remedies you have or may have against YouTube with respect thereto, and to the extent permitted by applicable law, agree to indemnify and hold harmless YouTube, its owners, its operators, affiliates, licensors, and licensees to the fullest extent allowed by law regarding all matters related to your use of the service. So, I'll give you an example. Uh, you know that trick a little while back where there was this iPhone download called like the Wave or something, uh, where you could charge your phone in the microwave. By putting that video up, he isn't responsible for any loss, nor is YouTube or anyone related to that. He's not responsible for your mistake. Ooh, I'm glad I'm almost halfway done. Your content and conduct. As a YouTube account holder, you may submit content to the service, including videos and user comments. You understand that YouTube does not agree in confidentiality with respect to any content you submit. That means private videos don't have to remain private. You shall be solely responsible for your own content and the consequences of submitting and publishing your content on the service. You affirm, represent, and warrant that you own or have necessary licenses, rights, consents, and permissions to publish content you submit, and you license to YouTube all patent, trademark, trade secret, copyright, or other proprietary rights in and to such content for publication on the service pursuant to these terms of service. For clarity, you retain all of your ownership rights in your content. However, by submitting content to YouTube, you hereby grant YouTube a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free, sub-licensable, and transferable license to use, reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works of display, and perform content in connection with the services and YouTube's and its successors and affiliates business, including without limitation for promoting and redistributing part or all of the service and derivatives works thereof in any media formats and through any media channels. You also hereby grant each user the service of a non-exclusive license to access your content through the service and to use, reproduce, distribute, display, and perform such content as permitted through the functionality of the service and under these terms of service. The above licenses granted by you in video content you submit to the service terminate with a commercially responsible time after you remove or delete your videos from the service. You understand and agree that, however, that YouTube may retain but not display, distribute, or perform server copies of your video that have been removed or deleted. The above licenses granted by you to end user comments you submit are perpetual and irrevocable. This is the same argument that a lot of people have, that things can't get down off the internet because they have no reason to. It's like deleting a file off a hard drive. It's still there until it's overwritten. But it might take forever to overwrite that because you'd have to make a full round and find it again. And the servers are huge, so it might take a long time for that to happen. And it might never actually be deleted. And it's probably on 50 different reposts or stuff like that. It's still there until it's gone forever, meaning the server that has the last copy of it is completely gone. And hard drives last 100 years, maybe even more if you have the right conditions. Okay, let's continue. You further agree that the content you submit to the service will not contain third-party copyrighted material or material that is subject to other third-party proprietary rights unless you have permission from the rightful owner of the material or you otherwise legally entitled to post material and to grant YouTube all the license rights granted herein. This basically means you're not going to post a Coke ad and make money off of it. You're not going to take someone else's work and make money off of it. You're not allowed to do that. Me, I can do gaming videos because I take the original content and I change it by doing it a different way and stuff like that. That's the argument, at least for now, how to do that. And most gaming companies love reviewers because they're free advertisement. Plus the reviewers get paid. Okay, you further agree that you will not submit to the service any content or other material that is contrary to the YouTube community guidelines currently found there, which may be updated from time to time or contrary to applicable local, national, and international laws and regulations. I will not be doing the laws and regulations of every single country unless you pay me a lot of money. But I will be doing the community guidelines at a later date, probably when I get my voice back from this. YouTube does not endorse any content submitted to the service by any user or licensor or any opinion, recommendation, or advice expressed therein, and YouTube expressly disclaims any and all liability in connection with content. YouTube does not permit copyright infringing activities and infringement and intellectual property rights on the service, and YouTube will remove all content if properly notified that such content infringes on others' intellectual property rights. YouTube reserves the right to remove content without prior notice. That basically means, say there's a video that gets really big that has someone else's music in it. Well, unless that person says, hey, that's a copyright infringement, that video is probably not going to be removed unless someone notices it or notifies YouTube. Account termination policy. This is if you want to terminate your account. YouTube will terminate a user's access to the service if, under appropriate circumstances, the user is determined to be a repeat infringer. YouTube reserves the right to decide whether content violates these terms of service for reasons other than copyright infringement, such as but not limited to pornography, obscenity, or excessive length. Excessive length. I've seen videos that are 72 hours. I need to have YouTube look at its own policies. YouTube may at any time without prior notice and in its sole discretion remove such content and or terminate a user's account for submitting such material in violation of these terms of service. I am glad I'm reading this. This allows me to see a lot more than I remember. Digital Millennium Copyright Act. If you are a copyright owner or an agent thereof and believe that any content infringes upon your copyrights, you may submit a notification pursuant to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, by providing our copyright agent with the following information in writing: a physical or electronic signature of a person authorized to act on behalf of the owner of an exclusive right that is allegedly infringed, identification of the copyrighted work claimed to have been infringed, or if multiple copyrighted works at a single online site are covered by a single notification, a representative list of such works at that site, identification of the material that is claimed to be infringing or to be the subject of infringing activity and that is to be removed, or access to which is to be disabled, information reasonably sufficient to permit the service provider to locate the material. Information reasonably sufficient to permit the service provider to contact you, such as an address, telephone number, and, if available, an electronic mail. A statement that you have a good faith belief that use of the material in the manner complained of is not authorized by the copyright owner or its agent or the law, and a statement that the information or in the notification is accurate and under penalty of perjury that you are authorized to act on behalf of the owner of an exclusive right that is allegedly infringed. I need to take a sec. Oh. Alright. YouTube's designated copyright agent to receive notifications of claimed infringement is Shady Ferozian at 901 Cherry Avenue, San Bruno, California, 94066. Email copyright@youtube.com. Fax as 650-872-8513. For clarity, our DMCA notices should go to the copyright agent. Any other feedback, comments, requests for technical support, and other communications should be directed to YouTube customer service through the support at YouTube. You acknowledge that if you fail to comply with all the requirements of this section 5D, your DMCA notice may not be valid. Counter notice: if you believe that your content that was removed or to which access was disabled is not infringing, or that you have the authorization from the copyright owner, the copyright owner's agent, or the pursuant to the law to post and use the material in your content, you may send a counter notice containing the following information up to the copyright agent: your physical or electronic signature, identification of the content that has been removed or to which access has been disabled, and the location at which the content appeared before it was removed or disabled. A statement that you have a good faith belief that the content was removed or disabled as a result of mistake or misidentification of content, and your name, email address, telephone number. A statement that you consent to the jurisdiction of the federal court in San Francisco, California, and a statement that you will accept service of process from the person who provided notification of the alleged infringement. If a counter notice is received by the copyright agent, your YouTube may send a copy of the counter notice to the original complaining party, informing that the person that it may replace the removed content or cease disabling it in 10 business days, unless the copyright owner files an action seeking a court order against the content provider. The member or user, the removed content may be replaced or access to it restored in 10 to 14 business days or more after receipt of the counter notice at YouTube's sole discretion. Warranty disclaimer. You agree that your use of the services shall be at your sole risk to the fullest extent permitted by law. YouTube, its officers, directors, employees, and agents disclaim all warranties expressed or implied in connection with the service and use thereof. YouTube makes no warranties or representations about the accuracy or completeness of the site's content or the content of any websites linked to the site, and assumes no liability or responsibility for any errors, mistakes, or inaccuracies of content, personal injury, or property damage of any nature whatsoever resulting from your access to and use of our services, any unauthorized access to or use of our secure services, and or any and all personal information and or financial information stored therein, any interruption of cessation of transmission to or from our services, any bugs, viruses, Trojan horses, or the like which may be transmitted to or through our services by any third party, and or any errors or omissions in any content, or for any loss or damage of any kind incurred as a result of the use of any content posted, emailed, transmitted, or otherwise made available via the services. YouTube does not warrant, endorse, guarantee, or assume responsibility for any product or service advertised or offered by a third party through the services and or hyperlinked services or featured in any banner or other advertising, and YouTube will not be a party or to or in any way responsible for monitoring any transaction between you and third party providers of products or services, as with the purchase of a product or service through any medium or in any environment. You should use your best judgment and exercise caution where appropriate. This basically means that if you see an advertisement that's most likely fake, they're not responsible for it. They're not responsible for anything you do anywhere other than YouTube, and even on YouTube, they're only responsible for certain things. Limitation of liability. In no event shall YouTube, its officers, directors, employees, or agents be liable to you for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, punitive, or consequential damages whatsoever resulting from any errors, mistakes, or inaccuracies of content, personal injury, or property damage of any nature whatsoever resulting from your access and use of our services, any unauthorized access to or use of our secure servers, and or any and all personal information and or financial information stored therein, any interruption or cessation of transmission to or from our services, any bugs, viruses, Trojan horses, or the like, which may be transmitted to or through our services by a third party, any errors or omissions in any content, or for any loss or damage of any kind incurred as a result of your use or use of any content posted, email, transmitted, or otherwise made available via the services, whether based on warranty, contract, tort, or any other legal theory, and whether or not the company is advised of the possibility of such damages. The foregoing limitation of liability shall apply to the fullest extent permitted by law in the application jurisdiction. You specifically acknowledge that YouTube shall not be liable for any content or the defamatory, offensive, or illegal content of any third party, and that the risk of harm or damage from foregoing rests entirely with you. The service is controlled and offered by YouTube from its facilities in the United States of America. YouTube makes no representations that the service is appropriate or available for the use in other locations. Those who access or use service from any jurisdiction do so at their own volition and are responsible for compliance with local law. This basically means I can upload a video that, someone else could probably upload a video of Muhammad, uh, not Ali, the, uh, the Messiah dude. I don't know how to, I don't actually know what he is. He's the Islamic Messiah, I think. I, I think. Uh, and if someone else views that and it's legal, it's on their part, not the person that uploaded. Oh, so close. Indemnity. Indemnity. To the extent permitted by applicable law, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless YouTube, its parent corporation, meaning Google, officers, directors, employees, and agents from and against any and all claims, damages, obligations, losses, liabilities, costs, or debt, and expenses, including but not limited to attorney's fees arising from your use of and access to the service, your violation of any term of the terms of service, your violation of any third-party right, including without limitation any copyright, property, or privacy right, or any claim that your content caused damage to a third party. This defense and indemnification obligation will survive these terms of service and your use of the service. This basically means they don't have to protect you in court if you mess up. Although a lot of the time YouTube really does try and help you out with it, they will actually try their best to make sure that you don't get in trouble beyond a certain point. They won't pay for it, but they will advise you on certain things. I know that NerdCube talked about it. Some YouTube lawyers actually did help him out with one of his claims. I'm not sure how often it happens, but they do it for almost all partners. There are some that they avoid with malice, and I know why. Uh, okay, ability to accept terms of service. You affirm that you are either more than 18 years old or an emancipated minor or possess legal parental or guardian consent and are fully able and competent to enter into the terms, conditions, obligations, affirmations, representations, and warranties set forth in these terms of service, and to abide by and comply with these terms of service in any case you affirm that you are over the age of 13, as the service is not intended for children under 13. If you are under 13 years of age, please do not use the service. There are lots of other great websites for you. Talk to your parents about the sites about what sites are appropriate for you. I don't think a kid under 13 is going to read the terms of service. I mean, I didn't read the terms of service when I was a kid. I got kicked out of Nickelodeon chat. I actually did. I got in a lot of trouble with my parents for that, but I did get kicked out of Nickelodeon chat. Remember that, kids of the 90s that probably don't watch my videos? Uh, Actually, you probably do, because it's a long video. Assignment. These terms of service and any rights and licenses granted hereunder may not be transferred or assigned by you, but may be assigned by YouTube without restriction. General, this is the last little filler part. You agree that the service shall be deemed solely based in California, and service shall be deemed passive website that does not give rise to personal jurisdiction over YouTube, either specific or general, in jurisdiction other than California. This basically means that you are following California's laws because they're based out of California. They have to abide by the laws, and you kind of do too. These terms of service shall be governed by the internal substantive laws of the state of California without respect to its conflict of laws principles. Any claim to or dispute between you and YouTube that arises in whole or in part from the service shall be decided exclusively by a court of competent jurisdiction located in Santa Clara County, California. By the way, that's where YouTube's based out of. These terms of service, together with the privacy notice at the thing that I'm going to do later, and other legal notices published by YouTube on the service, shall be constitute the entire agreement between you and YouTube concerning the service. If any provision of these terms of service is deemed invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the invalidity of such provisions shall not affect the validity of the remaining provisions of these terms of service, which shall remain in full force and effect. No waiver of any term of these terms of service shall be deemed a further or continuing waiver of such term or any other term, and YouTube's failure to assert any right or provision under these terms of service shall not constitute a waiver of such or provision. YouTube reserves the right to amend these terms of service at any time and without notice, and it is your responsibility to review these terms of service for any changes. Your use of service following any amendment of these terms of service will signify your assent to and acceptance of its revised terms. You and YouTube agree that any cause of action arising out of or related to the services must commence within 1 year after the cause and action accrues. Otherwise, such cause of action is permanently barred. This was made in 2010. It hasn't been changed. I don't know how often they will change it. I will be checking back every once in a while. Okay, 40. You can actually see 43 minutes and 43 minutes of me talking almost non-stop. All that I'm going to loathe ever having to do one of these again. I'm glad the privacy policy is a little bit shorter. But that is a very clear and hopefully easy to understand. Going through the terms of service. If you did skip parts of it, that's okay. You can read it yourself. It's probably faster than me speaking it because I actually had to stop, and speaking for 40 minutes definitely made me lose my voice. It'll probably be about a week before I release anything else. I might do something tomorrow if my voice is up for it. But I'm glad that I did this. I've been meaning to do it for a while because I wanted to read it through myself a few more times. And being able to do a video out of it, that was something that I wanted to do because it allows me to share it. Share all the information I learned from it, which wasn't much. It's basically a filler thing where they're trying to cover themselves on a lot of things, but it's basically giving you certain things. I'm going to stop now because I'm completely out of voice and I don't know why I'm still talking. And as you can tell, I started losing my ability to speak, which is because my tongue's getting tired. Now I'm going to leave this off here, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.